Hi, welcome to Straight Talk. I want to welcome all of our new cities that are watching Straight Talk. Our goal here is to try to give you as much information we can about topics that impact you and your families. And today there's a big topic out there, the heroin epidemic, drug abuse, alcoholism. There's a lot out there. There's a lot of people suffering and a lot of people who want help, but they don't quite know how to get help. And today on Straight Talk, we're going to go through the process of what's it take to get help. Well, how do you make that phone call? What do you expect? What do you need? How do you prepare for it? And joining me is Carolyn Peredes, who is an intake specialist. This is what she does. She helps get people into treatment. Carolyn, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You work for the Maryland Addiction Recovery Center.
Yep.
And you get everyone in the door. You're the first person that people call.
Right.
You know, I was saying that there's so many people out there that want help, but they don't even know what to do. Mm-hmm. They see a million different programs. They're probably calling a million. And you probably get these kind of phone calls all the time.
All day, yeah.
I'm curious to know, when someone calls you, mm-hmm. do you have, who calls you the most? Is it a parent, a loved one, or is it the addict themselves?
So it really varies. Most of the time, it'll be a family member calling for their loved one, whether it's a parent, a sibling, grandmother, it really depends. Some of the time it'll be the patient themselves, but more often than not, it's going to be the family member who's very concerned. They don't know what to do. They haven't had any experience with this type of stuff before. So typically when they're calling, they're just kind of in a crisis mode, calling us and seeing what we can do to help and where to go from there.
It's interesting, isn't it, how it's always, I guess the addiction impacts so many people, but the addict isn't making the phone call usually.
Right, exactly.
It's the people that care about them. And that's probably okay, right?
Yeah. I mean, typically if the person hasn't gotten help before, they don't necessarily know even what is available, what help is out there. So typically they won't know to call us. They'll just continue going on about what's going on in their addiction, and they're not even aware of what's out there and how treatment centers can help. So typically the family member who is the most sane one in the equation will be the one to reach out to us or to reach out to a treatment center and just kind of start looking for help and see what's out there.
And it's important to kind of get rid of this notion that you can't help someone until they reach rock bottom or until they really want. I mean, we can't wait, right?
Right.
So having someone call, so if anyone's out there and says, well, my son or my husband, my wife, but I'm not going to call, they have to make the call. That's not always, we don't have time to wait for that maybe.
Exactly. And like you're saying, the family members actually often have a lot of pull in saying, it's time for you to get help. The person may not be ready, but if the family is willing to outreach a program and get some help for themselves and kind of learn how to set a line with their family member and give them some type of push, some type of, even an ultimatum and saying, okay, your life is at stake here. You really need to get some help. The families play a huge part in that, and that's why, the family component and what we do at Maryland Addiction Recovery Center is so important. We really believe in treating the families as a whole. So even if the person's not ready themselves, if we can get at least the family involved and have them come in and sit down with us in admissions and just kind of, get a game plan set up and setting some boundaries, setting some things in place to, we really want to create an environment where the person has no other options but to get the help.
So you would actually, and I think this is really important, you would actually meet with the family members and not even the addict.
Exactly.
You would help them get ready for what they need to do.
Yep.
Well, that's really cool, because I don't think you hear about that very often. That they would think, well, send the addict in. And you're saying, hey, why don't you guys come in and let's talk about it. That's really good. Yeah,
it's a big part of what we do. Sometimes the family members will come in, a month before the person even knows that they're going to be getting help. We like to sit down with them and really gather all the information, find out what's been going on with their loved one, whether the loved one who's suffering from the addiction is living at home or they're not. We really try to get with the family and get the picture, get the big picture of what's going on, and setting up a really clear and concrete game plan as to what we're going to do from here on out, and how we're going to get that person some help.
And then you're there to back them up if
Exactly.
it works.
Exactly.
If it works.
Absolutely. And from there, whether we get them set up enrolled in our treatment program, or we refer them somewhere else first, and then to us for some aftercare, it really depending on the person's needs and what type of treatment they're going to be looking to get. But either way, we'll assist with that whole process, whether they're coming to us or they're going to another treatment program. A lot of different factors play into what treatment center is going to be best for that person. So either way, we assist, the whole way to get that person safe.
Now you're the first line of defense here.
Right.
You're the one that they call, and you're in recovery yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You
Correct.
told me it was okay to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah, absolutely.
And that's important because again, you've been there.
Right.
You know about the denials and and everything that's going on within that family because you've been through it yourself. I would imagine that helps a great deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very helpful, and especially when the family member calls and they're in that crisis mode. I don't know what to do. My son or my daughter, my husband's out of control, and it's really cool to be able to kind of relate and just be able to talk them through and have them relax a little bit and just gather all the information and say it's okay. There are options. We're going to get this sorted out, and being able to explain it from the other side to the family member is really, really important. I think it's a very cool thing.
Yeah, I think that's really important because again, I would imagine that you get some pretty hysterical people
Oh, yeah.
who are awfully upset.
Yep.
And it's a horrible thing. And now with everything going on, it's more, with the heroin epidemic and the opiate epidemic and everything going on, it's just seems like people are really struggling.
They are, absolutely. The phone calls just keep coming in. We're just getting an influx of calls every day. It's, more and more people are looking for help, which is a good thing. With the opioid epidemic, it's really great to be able to have, increasing amount of resources to give people.
But that first call, and we're going to take a little break, but when we come back, I want to walk through with you about when they make that call. What do you ask them? How do you get them prepared, and some of the things that they need to be prepared with. So thank you again for being here.
Definitely.
Congratulations on your recovery.
Thank you.
And we're hopefully trying to get some good information out. So
Yep.
we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back, talk more with Carolyn about what do you do when you need to make that phone call when you've got someone you care about has a drug or alcohol problem. So stay with us. We're coming right back to Straight Talk with some important information.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
French fries. Finding best potatoes.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Bowl.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Hi, welcome back to Straight Talk. We're talking about how to get help when someone you care about has a drug or alcohol problem. Or maybe you have a problem with alcohol and drugs and you don't know how to make that first call. We're talking with Carolyn Peredes from Maryland Addiction Recovery Center, who does this every day. She gets the phone calls from people every day, and she's helping us to understand how to get someone in, how to get them into that treatment program. And thanks for hanging in there with us.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that call. You get that phone call. What do you ask them? What kind of things are you looking for when you're in the kind of because you're doing an evaluation over the phone is what you're doing. What do you need to be able to really understand what's happening?
Yeah, so like you said, it's essentially doing a mini evaluation, gathering as much information as I possibly can in that little time frame that I have either the person affected by the addiction or the family member on the phone. What I'm gonna, first and foremost, what I'm gonna want to try to figure out is, are they safe currently in this moment? Where are they? What's going on today? That's causing either the person themselves to be calling or the family member. I'm going to want to ask what they're using. Hopefully the family members have that insight, but sometimes they don't. So it's really much, if possible, it's much easier for me to be able to get on the phone with the actual person who's suffering from the addiction and have them tell me exactly what they're using, what way they're using it, how often that's been going on. And from then on, I'll be able to, hopefully with that information, determine what is the best course of action. Just based off of that, first thing I'm going to want to figure out is, do they need detox? Do they need to go away inpatient to a facility where they can be medically detoxed? Some substances to withdraw from can be very, very dangerous. Alcohol, benzodiazepines, those are all substances that if the person's physically addicted, we're not going to want them to just stop, and just cold turkey at home. We're going to want them medically detoxed.
It's interesting. I'll stop you for a second. But it's interesting because I think so many people think that heroin is the worst drug to get off of. But what you're saying, alcohol and tranquilizers, you can actually die from that.
Exactly.
And heroin, you probably won't.
Right.
Yet, that's not what you hear.
Exactly.
Everyone thinks that heroin is the worst of all.
Yeah.
But in reality, probably alcohol.
Yep, alcohol and the benzodiazepine withdrawal can be fatal. Yeah, it can cause grand mal seizures, and they can be fatal in some cases.
So you're trying to get an idea of how much they're using, so if they need to get some kind of a detoxification.
Exactly. Yeah, we want them safe first and foremost.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, keep going. I love hearing this because this is what we need to know.
Yeah, so once we figure out, like I said, whether or not they need some type of inpatient detox, if they do, we'll be able to gather a little bit more information as far as who's involved in their lives, or the family is going to be, helping along in this process. Somewhere down the line, we'll want to ask about their insurance information. That way we can find the best placement for them based off of their insurance coverage. If the person doesn't need detox and we can kind of get them enrolled, hopefully into our program, we'll want to at least invite the family in first and talk to them, like I mentioned earlier. And if the person is ready and willing for help, which is always great, we'll have them come in as well. We'll sit down with the family and the patient present as a whole and be able to come up with a plan from there.
Now, you talked about insurance and money. The problem in this country, obviously, is we don't have enough treatment for everyone who needs it.
Correct.
Certainly affordable treatment for people that need it. So, different programs have different requirements when it comes to funding. But you need to find that out.
Right.
Because if you're in the private sector, programs aren't free.
Right.
Now, some government programs might be, but they might not be enough for what the person needs. So what do? How do you ask what their insurance?
Yeah, so somewhere, down the line in that conversation, I'll eventually ask about insurance and find out what type of insurance they have. We accept commercial insurance. So either way, I'll be able to gather that insurance information from them and verify it and find out exactly what benefits they have and what treatment it'll cover. If they happen to have, an insurance that we're not able to accept, what I'll be able to do from there is I can still look into that insurance information, and with that information, I can contact other programs that we work with, and I'll be able to find them the best placement, whether it's with, you know, all different types of insurance. We're lucky today that, you know, we do have programs available to us that accept commercial insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, you know, all the different types of coverage. So either way, if, you know, we are unable to accept them for some reason, we will absolutely make sure that we find the appropriate placement for them.
Yeah. Now, would you recommend to families who are watching that if they've got someone that they're concerned about, that they check their insurance ahead of time?
Right.
So when they would call into someone like you, they would say, hey, I know I have this coverage, and they already have that information. That would be helpful right off the bat to know it's going to pay for outpatient, it's going to pay for this, it's going to pay for that, or it doesn't pay for anything. Now, if it doesn't pay for anything, then it's out of pocket.
Right. And a lot of times the families are not aware of, you know, what substance abuse coverage they have or don't have. So it's good when they call in to just, even if they have just the insurance information on hand, just to be able to tell me, then I can look into it and get back to them shortly thereafter and say, okay, here's what it'll cover, you know, here's what it won't cover, and we can go from there. Absolutely.
And that's a big part.
Yeah, it definitely plays into it.
I mean, paying for this is important.
Yeah.
On every single level.
Absolutely.
You know. Now, once they make that contact and you've got kind of that part, on the phone, are you trying to calm them down? Do you find them to be rather hysterical at times?
They can be,
be nice about this, but I bet when they're calling you, they must be in a crisis.
They are absolutely in a crisis. You know, most of the time they're just very, very concerned. They don't know what to do. I mean, it's especially if you're just finding out about this, that your loved one is, you know, drinking heavily, or they have a heroin addiction. I mean, it's very, very scary. It's very powerful stuff. And so to be able to get on the phone with a professional and somebody, especially that's been through it, you know, we're able to kind of slow them down and talk them through, you know, what's going to happen next, and, you know, what we're going to be able to do, and how we can help their loved one. It's really important to just kind of be that voice of reason and calm them down at that specific time, and just be able to help as much as we can.
I can imagine how upset they are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're going to take another little break and keep talking about the next process, because now we want to get them in, you know, and get them started in treatment. So you're really, I think, providing a good service here. Hopefully people are understanding the process. When we come back to Straight Talk, we're going to keep talking with Carolyn Peredes about how to get someone into a treatment center. We talk about it a lot. We all know somebody that needs help. This is how you go about it. And we're going to keep talking with Carolyn when we come back, so stay with us. We're coming right back to Straight Talk.
Who helps a hero? Who tells the story of their scars? The freedom and safety of so many, of us all, is earned by the sacrifices of so few. Who helps a hero? We all do. The Gary Sinise Foundation works to support America's defenders and strengthen their families through entertainment, the construction of smart homes for our wounded heroes, and by inspiring and educating others to also support the veterans within their own communities. We enjoy the benefits of their sacrifice and service each day. Now it's time we serve them. Find out how you can help our heroes at GarySiniseFoundation.org. While we can never do enough to show our gratitude to our nation's defenders, we can always do a little more.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. Our whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Hi, welcome back to Straight Talk. We're talking with Carolyn Peredes, who is an intake specialist at the Maryland Addiction Recovery Center. Her job is to help people get into treatment, answer their questions over the phone so that they can make that process simple and easy, because we've got to get people help. And she's staying with us to help us with this process. Carolyn, thanks again for staying with us. You know, we talk about this heroin epidemic all over the country. I mean, it's in neighborhoods that no one's seen it ever. You know, it used to be inner city, now the suburbs is loaded with opiates and fentanyl and heroin, and people are overdosing, and families that never dealt with this. Now you hear that. I mean, is that kind of a common scenario that, oh my God, you know, we're from a nice neighborhood and then we didn't realize? Do you hear a lot of that?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I hear that every day, just parents that never saw this coming, you know, and oftentimes as you know, as I hear every day, it starts out with the pain pills, the prescriptions, you know, even young people. I mean, it's the calls that we're getting in are, you know, the population is just getting younger and younger and younger. I mean, we have clients as young as 18 years old struggling with, you know, severe heroin addiction, and it's all over the place. And, you know, where we're located in Baltimore County, we have a lot of clients who are native of Baltimore County who are struggling with the heroin addiction. It's very prevalent. Yeah.
I guess it was just a matter of time. I mean, we've seen this with pot use, we saw it with every other drug.
Right.
That when it starts, it eventually works its way down to kids.
Yep.
Because they want to emulate adults. So
exactly.
Heroin's the big thing. They're going to do heroin. So you're getting them that young now.
Oh yeah, younger and younger. Yeah. Absolutely.
And are they injecting?
A lot of them are injecting. You know, if we're lucky to catch it before it gets to that point, you know, those are, you know, in the lucky instances that we're able to get the person into treatment before it gets to that point. But, you know, unfortunately, a lot of times they're already injecting, and a lot of people, you know, more recently especially have been, you know, fatal overdosing from injecting the heroin.
Yeah, and it's happening everywhere.
Absolutely.
I mean, the whole country is dealing with it. So when you get that call, and you realize, oh, here's the profile. We got a young heroine. What do you do for them? Like, what would you offer someone like that?
So it really depends on, again, the addiction, the severity of the addiction, what's going on in the person's life. If they're able to go away for a little bit, we'll try to first have them go in, whether it's a short-term detox or a 28-day inpatient facility, which is you know, where they'll be treated acutely. You know, taking that person out of their current environment can definitely be helpful in the beginning, and have them go through that, you know, that short term, you know, whether it can be anywhere from, you know, 5 days, 7 days, 14 to 28 days of just getting away from their environment into an inpatient facility, you know, freestanding facility, and start to get them some individual therapy, some group therapy, and really get them, you know, started on the right path.
I mean, I like that you said that, because I really have always believed that people, it's so hard to stop if you're in the same neighborhood with the same friends. How do you stop when it's right there?
Exactly.
Or when you do stop and you go back, how hard is it not to use again?
Exactly.
So I like your approach of getting off the street, starting fresh, not worrying, not that pressure to use. And that's what inpatient does, right? Exactly.
You know, just getting them out of that environment can be so beneficial. But even more importantly, you know, what we believe in is, you know, the long-term continuum of care model of treatment. We don't believe that, you know, just 28 days of treatment is going to solve the issue. You know, the addiction that took years and years to build, you know, it's going to take a long time to be able to really you know, recover. And so we truly believe that the longer someone is involved in some type of treatment, whether, you know, up to a year or 2 years, the greater their chances are at sustaining long-term recovery.
Well, that's another truth that doesn't get out as much, you know, about keeping people longer than we keep them now.
Exactly.
Because I just think it's so hard for them to stay clean. So they would come into a program like yours, and there's lots of programs all over the country that are outpatient, inpatient. But what you're saying is, for these heroin addicts that we're now seeing, outpatients probably isn't going to be that effective.
Right. Yeah, so the outpatient is definitely a big part of what we do. You know, like I said,
Right.
we're going to want them, you know, away from the environment first. We also have a long-term residential facility that's kind of in between inpatient and outpatient. So they're engaging in treatment all day, every day, and they're also residing with us for a long-term period of time.
And not around their friends.
Exactly.
And they're in a positive environment
Exactly.
that you guys can control.
Yep, for a long-term
so
period of time.
That's really important.
Yeah.
Now, if again someone calls
Mm-hmm.
and we're giving advice to people, you know, at different cities, when you call, what should they ask? What should they ask you when they call?
So somebody that's calling in that you know, it does not have experience with the stuff, that's looking for a treatment center, you know, I think as a family member calling in, they should definitely inquire about the treatment center's philosophy. You know, what is their clinical reasoning behind what they do? Is there family involvement? You know, how the family is going to be involved in getting that person better. I mean, it's a big part of what we do. We believe in the disease model of addiction, obviously, but we believe in the big piece that is family involvement in treating not only the addicted individual, but the family as a whole.
Because I think a lot of families are looking for either like a methadone or some other medication. Right. And that's not necessarily what you guys do.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of programs that are, you know, abstinent based, you know, 12-step based kind of things you're talking about. But then there's other ones that are medical based.
Right.
That seems to be getting more popular.
Right. Yeah, so we're definitely more so abstinence based, and you know, we
do you find that seems to work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, not only just the abstinence piece, but just being a part of, like you mentioned, a positive environment and having support from peers, and just, you know, the 12-step model, all that, just treating, you know, comprehensively the person as a whole, we found definitely works best. Definitely.
Well, I want to thank you for being on the show and kind of guiding us through this. I hope some people picked up some tips on what to do, because I don't think this is going to end so soon. Right. And people need help. And you're doing a great job. Congratulations on your recovery.
Thank you.
The work you do to help people. It's important.
Thanks.
Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Today on Straight Talk, we're focusing on this heroin epidemic, the drug epidemic, how to get people help. Carolyn kind of walked you through what you need to do. The bottom line is you've got to make the call. If someone you care about has a problem with drugs or alcohol, you've got to try to get them help and not give up on them, because, you know, we can't afford it. We're losing too many people to this epidemic now. We don't want to lose any more. I want to thank Carolyn Peredes for everything she did for us today, and thank you for watching Straight Talk, and we'll see you next time.